Info Channel.
He had an amnesia to the instructions to pull the trigger. He had a compulsive need to do it because of the instructions to do it. And his rationalization was, if they said I did it, then I guess it's because Kennedy is pro-Israel. But those were the rationalizations that he offered.
Hypnosis played a major role in Sirhan's trial, as psychiatrists for the defense and prosecution hypnotized Sirhan at least 6 times in an effort to unlock his memory.
You're right in the kitchen now.
In one session under hypnosis, Sirhan was induced to reenact the shooting.
Look, Senator Kennedy is here.
The psychiatrist reported that Sirhan nearly choked as he relived being strangled, just as in his actual capture. This incident is one of many that Dr. Spiegel found in his review of the court psychiatrist's reports that lead him to believe that Sirhan falls into the highest category of hypnotizability.
Only about 5 to 10% of the population are that highly hypnotizable. He comes under the category of what might be called the hypnotic virtuosos.
In fact, Sirhan's high hypnotizability, which allowed him to slip into spontaneous trances, was the basis of the defense's argument. His lawyers argued that Sirhan involuntarily shifted into a hypnotic trance, and therefore carried out the assassination without planning it ahead of time. The possibility that someone else may have hypnotized Sirhan was never presented in court. But Dr. Spiegel believes that the circumstantial evidence, Sirhan's desire to be hypnotized, his extreme compliance under hypnosis, his amnesia to the assassination event, all suggest that Sirhan appears to be an ideal candidate to be hypnotized. But can someone be hypnotized to kill?
Yes, it is possible to instruct a highly hypnotizable person to perform many acts, including assassination.
Once a highly hypnotizable subject is found, programmed assassination might be possible, but only if the programming could overcome a subject's moral objections, or if the subject already agrees with the instructions. In the hands of an expert in hypnosis, perhaps Sirhan's Palestinian nationality could have been fueled into a hatred for Robert Kennedy's support for Israel. And if Sirhan had any moral objections to killing, a programmer might have manipulated Sirhan to believe that Kennedy posed a threat to his life. Then, if given a gun and placed at the Ambassador Hotel, Sirhan would have been in a position to carry out his instructions to kill. And just like Dr. Spiegel's glasses signal Henry, the sight of Robert Kennedy could have been the post-hypnotic signal for Sirhan to start shooting. But even if Sirhan was an ideal candidate, the lack of evidence surrounding the alleged programming of Sirhan raises difficult questions. Who was the programmer? How did they find Sirhan? Who else was involved in the plot to kill RFK? There is, however, physical evidence to suggest that there may have been a larger plot, and that Sirhan's role in the assassination was that of a patsy, programmed to be shooting, while someone else did the killing.
While Sirhan was clearly programmed to be there and was shooting a gun, the overwhelming evidence is that his bullets did not kill Robert Kennedy, and there is no conclusive evidence that his bullets did kill Robert Kennedy.
None of this evidence was presented at Sirhan's trial. Because Sirhan was caught with a smoking gun, his lawyers never presented any physical evidence to contest his guilt. But to this day, the bullets that killed Robert Kennedy have never been matched to Sirhan's gun. Is it possible Sirhan's smoking gun was really a smokescreen? Unanimous eyewitness accounts place Sirhan at least 3 to 5 feet in front of Robert Kennedy. Yet the autopsy report indicates that the bullets that killed him were shot from behind. Dr. Thomas Noguchi was the coroner who performed the autopsy.
All three gunshot wounds had a similar pattern, which is a right to the left and upward direction, and from back to front direction. And it was determined by a comparison test. It was very close range.
The shots were fired at such close range that 2 shots left gunpowder residue on Senator Kennedy's skin. That means the gun barrel had to be pressing against his back.
The fatal gunshot wound was found just behind the right ear.
The autopsy report concludes the fatal wound bullet was fired from 1 inch away. The LAPD and DA's office recreated the murder twice on film. These poor quality tapes were secured under the Freedom of Information Act. In both cases, Robert Kennedy's fatal wounds could not be matched to the position from which Sirhan fired his gun. Lawrence Teeter, Sirhan's current lawyer, claims there was a second gun, identical to Sirhan's, present at the scene of the crime. Sirhan's revolver had 8 bullets, all fired and officially accounted for. But the LAPD and FBI found indications of more than 8 bullets at the scene of the murder. More than 8 bullets means more than 1 gun. Teeter has filed a writ to reopen the case. He believes the new physical evidence will prove Sirhan was set up to be a patsy.
Sirhan's role in this assassination was to take the blame for somebody else's crime. He did not shoot Robert Kennedy. The people who put this crime together planned for Sirhan to take the blame and have no memory with which he could implicate others. That's the current situation. If given a chance, we will prove that in court.
But if proponents of the hypno-programming theory can prove their case in court, other disturbing questions will have to be answered. Who hypnotized Sirhan Sirhan? Who was behind the plot to kill Robert Kennedy? And who is the real killer?
The first step to unlocking the mystery of who really killed Robert Kennedy would be to probe Sirhan's mind expertly with his cooperation, and that would be a major start to finding out the truth of who is behind the conspiracy to kill a presidential candidate.
With new evidence and an expert in hypnosis, is it possible to unlock Sirhan's memory?
Under hypnosis, it would be possible, using a proper technique, to help Sirhan recover the memory of this event.
If hypnosis did play a role in Robert Kennedy's assassination, perhaps it can also play a role in determining if there were other killers. Was Sirhan Sirhan the lone gunman, as the authorities continue to believe? Or was he part of a larger plot? Somewhere, trapped in Sirhan's memory, may be the truth to who killed Robert Kennedy.
If you would like to continue to grow your mind, please push the subscribe button below.